안녕하세요 여러분. Hi guys. Welcome to Learn Korean with Clara 쌤. 한국어 같이 배워요. Today we are going to study final consonants. To write Korean words, there are certain rules. On this subject, you can check out the next video on the construction of syllables. In Korean, consonants can be found at the beginning of a word like the consonants in red here, or at the end of a word like the consonants in blue. Those in blue are called final consonants. In Korean, we say 받침. This is one of the peculiarities of the Korean language. We learned previously that the number of consonants is 19. Among these, there are 16 consonants that are used as final consonants. The other 3 are excluded from the final consonants. The majority of Korean consonants are pronounced differently in the initial and final position of a syllable. When writing words, all of these 16 consonants are used, but when speaking, only 7 of them give the pronunciation of the final consonants. We'll see this in more detail now. When these 3 consonants are placed as the final consonant, 기역, 크, 그, they are all pronounced as 기역. This is normally pronounced like g, but if used as the final consonant, the pronunciation becomes 크. For example, 학, 윽, 역. These 3 words are written with different final consonants, but they all have the same pronunciation. 학, 윽, 역. And what must also be remembered when you say these words is that you say the end not very loudly. It's not 하쿠, it's just 학, like you cut the end quickly. For the case of 니은, it is pronounced as it is. For example, 탄산. For these 7 final consonants, they are pronounced like t. This is normally pronounced like d, but if used as the final consonant, the pronunciation becomes t. We'll see examples right away. These 7 examples have different final consonants, but for pronunciation, it is as if all of them have the same final consonant, that is, t. So we pronounce them 곧, 곧, 옷, 잇, 곧, 꽃, 조. For deer, it doesn't change. For example, 길, 솔. It is pronounced like 을. And it is the same for 미음. It is pronounced like For example, 김, 담. Final consonants are pronounced as they are. It doesn't change. For 비읍, 피읍, both are pronounced like p. The consonant 비읍 has a pronunciation like b, but if used as the final consonant, the pronunciation becomes like p. For example, 답 and 앞, the 2 are pronounced as 답 and 앞 respectively. In that case, you could ask a question. If we pronounce words the same way, how can we distinguish between them when people are speaking? Do not worry, because it is easy to understand with the context, so there will be no confusion. The last case of a simple final consonant, it is iung. This consonant has a particularity compared to the others. When it is used at the beginning of a word, it is not pronounced, no sound. We put it to associate it with a vowel because in the Korean language, we do not put a vowel alone. But if you use it as final consonant, the pronunciation becomes ung. Look at this example, ang. As you can see, the consonant iung in front here is not pronounced. It is the sound of the vowel a. But where it is placed as final consonant, it is pronounced as ung. Then we pronounce this word ang. Be careful not to pronounce the ending loudly. It's just ang, not angul. As another example, there is 동. There is yet another good example, 안녕. In a single word, we see iung located at the beginning, but also at the end, so a final consonant. In the syllable an, iung has no sound, but in the case of 녕, iung has a sound ung. So the pronunciation of this word is 안녕. It means hi in English. Here we have studied the final simple consonants, and now we'll move on to the double final consonants. Double final consonants consist of two consonants, but when we speak, only one of the two is pronounced. The number of these double final consonants is 11. For double final consonants, there are two groups. For the first group of 8 double final consonants, it is the one in front that we pronounce, as you can see here. And for the second group of 3, it is the one behind which is pronounced. We'll see some examples. In the case of the first group of 3, as I just told you, we pronounce only the first consonants, 기역, 니은, 비읍. Therefore, 넉, 안, 갑. For the second example, it is the same rule. It is the final consonants in front that give the pronunciation. If you look at the two examples, the first is man. It is the ni은 which is pronounced, so we pronounce it like man. And the other example, we only pronounce 리을, then the pronunciation is 실. For the third example, these three words have a pronunciation with only the final consonant in front, 리을. So its pronunciation is 널, 골, 할. Finally, in the case of the first example, it is the last consonants which give the pronunciation. So if we look at the three words in the example, we pronounce them 닭, 삼, 읍. For the last word, 읍, it is the last consonant which is concerned like the two others. So it's like pronouncing with pi읍 at the end. But you remember what I said before when I talked about the pronunciation of simple consonants. When the final consonant is pi읍, we pronounce it like p. So here the same rule is applied. So we pronounce it like 읍. I have put here a summary table for all the pronunciations of the simple and double final consonants. From this table, we can better see all the rules of pronunciation. Here is a little exercise for you. How do you pronounce each word? Try to pronounce them and possibly write each word in your notebook. Today we have seen the types of final consonants and their pronunciations. From this video, we must remember that in Korean, you have to be careful with the spelling because the written and spoken words are not the same, so you should not write them only like you pronounce them. That's it for today. Hope this video has helped you understand final consonants better. Thank you for watching. See you next time and good work everyone. 다음에 또 만나요. 안녕.